Welcome everybody to another top 10 roundup of films I watched during 2021, and this time we're going to be doing top 10 favourite pre-2021 first time watches. So basically any film that had been released before 2021 that I hadn't seen before is able to get onto this list. I had seen 100 films that were able to be that were competing for this top 10 because I'd rated 100 films 4.5 stars or more that I hadn't seen before. Yeah, as a result, I'm going to mention 5 honourable mentions because these came extremely close to coming into my top 10. And the first of those is the Yakuza, released in 1974, number 38 in the premium collection. And this is a fantastic film starring Robert Mitchum, and it's written by Paul Schrader, who also did Taxi Driver. It's got a really good people behind it. Director is I can't remember now. Sidney Pollack, great director, and this is one of my favourite films from him. And like I said, came extremely close to being in my top 10, but the only reason it really was held back is because Robert Mitchum at the time was really rather quite old, especially too old to be doing a full-blown action film. So for most of the action scenes, he's just watching other people do things, which makes it a bit more involving on his part. But overall, a fantastic film, and I highly recommend it. Like I do highly recommend all these films I'm going to be mentioning today. And in number 14th place, Road Games. Now, this is the best thing that Jamie Lee Curtis has done outside of the Halloween series. And it's also got a really good performance by Stacy Keach. It's directed by Richard Franklin, who also did the rather good Patrick. I'm really massive fan of this horror film, road trip film, basically all of that kind of stuff. Also given a fantastic release by Indicator in this really rather nice limited edition box set. But yeah, fantastic film in its own right, and a really fantastic release as well from Indicator. And in 13th place from Eureka, we have Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. This is a fantastic film from Robert Aldrich, and he got a superb performance from Betty Davis, and solid supporting performances from Olivia de Havilland and Joseph Cotton. And this is a riveting film right from the beginning and right through to the end, and that's despite the fact that it's 2 hours 13 minutes long. 1964, fantastic combination of what was done with Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, but going all the way further, and I actually prefer it to that film that I just mentioned, even though that was the one that everyone loves more. But yeah, this really just captivated me right from the start, and if you've ever seen the opening scene, you'll probably know why. And in at number 12, we have Matinee, directed by Joe Dante and released in 1993. So same year as Jurassic Park, actually. This is a film I absolutely adore. Not just because it's got a really good performance from John Goodman, but Joe Dante directs the hell out of it, and it's inspired or kind of parodies, spoofs 1950s B movies, specifically sci-fi horror films, as you can probably tell from the fact you got a big ant-like creature on the front there. It's absolutely delightful, and I really, really do enjoy it. And as a fan of 50s sci-fi B movies, this is a perfect encapsulation of those films. And I saw it right at the right time because I was really getting into those kind of films even more during 2021. And this was a really, really good culmination of those. And the number 11 came ever so close to getting into the top 10. I think it's purely because I didn't find it as in-depth as the 10th film in my list, so that's why. But it's still an amazing film, directed by John Pierre Melville, Le Samurai. Now, I actually prefer this to In Circle Rouge. In Circle Rouge, is that what it's called? Le Circle Rouge. Yeah, which is the first John Pierre Melville film I actually watched in 2021. This is my second, and just edges out Le Circle Rouge. Got a really cool atmosphere to it, stunning soundtrack, really good performance from Alain Delon, and Criterion have done a fantastic Blu-ray transfer of it, and just amazing all the way through, pretty much that. And right, now on to the top 10, which is mostly older films. I'm not going to deny that. There's not a single film here that is there is one film here that is modern it was released in 2020. But yeah, the rest are from the before the 2000s, and all but one of them are released before, uh, after the 1970s. So yeah, most of them are older, but I'm just into more older films. And the first of those is Judgment at Nuremberg. Now, this is an epic film in length. It's 3 hours long. It's mostly a courtroom drama. It's incredibly heavy in terms of its thematic weight and all that lot. And yeah, directed by Stanley Kramer. But you've got a superb cast of Spencer Tracy, Burt Lancaster, Richard Widmark, Marlene Dietrich, Maximilian Schnell, Judy Garland, Montgomery Clift, and supporting roles from William Shatner and Kenneth McKenna. And yeah, it's a lengthy film. It's not a happy-go-lucky kind of film at all, because it's dealing with the atrocities committed by Nazi Germany, and whether or not several judges were complicit in those atrocities or not. And yeah, it's quite heavily weighted, but yeah, still a superb film. And yeah, it's got really rather real-life, harrowing footage of the Allies taking over the encampment, the concentration camps, and yeah, the horrors that they saw when they eventually took them over and freed those that were still alive. And yeah, it's incredibly harrowing, but yeah, and a really rather worthwhile watch, especially if you're ignorant to the kind of things that happened back in the 40s, and or you just don't, or you want to know about stuff that happened in the 40s. But yeah, still an incredible film, and yeah, easily one of the best films I've seen from 2021. But it gets edged out by the superb kind of, I think it's considered a film noir, Touch of Evil, directed and starring Orson Welles. And yeah, this blew me away. I absolutely adored The Third Man from Orson Welles. That I think it came in my top 50 from in terms of favourite pre-2020 first time watches. But this, yeah, soared right into ninth place as soon as I saw it, and I only saw it in the last few weeks. And yeah, it's also got a great cast. You got Charlton Heston, Janet Leigh, as well as Orson Welles, obviously. And yeah, it's also got a supporting role from Marlene Dietrich, who has propped up in several films I've watched so far this year. But she's the most watched actress I've watched this year. I think I've seen 16 films from her during 2021. So yeah, fantastic film, and yeah, really is a superbly engrossing film right from the off. The first scene, the first 5 minutes is just tension riddled, and it just goes from there and just, yeah, absolutely nails its execution. In terms of tension, though, it's outdone by 1964's Failsafe. Now, this is about what would happen if a nuclear armed bomber was sent off to do its thing, nuke a country, but the government wanted to recall it, but they couldn't because of the failsafe procedure, which is basically as soon as it gets to a certain point, it can't be recalled. And yeah, they're trying to basically the government are trying to persuade the country they're about to bomb that it's all an accident, and they will happily do whatever to try and rectify it. So yeah, it's incredibly tension riddled. It's got Henry Fonda in it, as well as Walter Matthau, who's great as per usual, and it's also got Fritz Weaver, who is really rather good, and it's directed by Sidney Lumet, who again I think was in my top 10 with The Offence, from starring Sean Connery. And yeah, this is really rather good, and again another superb transfer from Criterion. So yeah, highly recommend it. It's again like Judgment at Nuremberg. It's not that happy-go-lucky film at all. It's all in black and white as well, but it is shorter than Judgment at Nuremberg, and really does ratchet up that tension really effectively. And yeah, the thematic weight of nuclear weapons really not being a good idea is yeah, still sadly relevant today. Moving on to something a little bit more light-hearted, but not particularly child-friendly, despite being an animated film from 1999, The Iron Giant. I am highly surprised that it's taken me this long to actually watch this film, because this is everything I would like from a film. It's moving, it's entertaining, it's funny, it's got beautiful animation, it's well directed by Brad Bird, who went on to do the likes of the Incredibles films, and yeah, all in all in under 90 minutes. And it's also, like Matinee, influenced by 50s sci-fi films as well, which yeah, is basically the cherry on the top of all of it, quite frankly. And yeah, It's even got really good action scenes in it as well, and yeah, the Blu-ray makes the animation really pop. So yeah, absolutely adore that film. Right, now into what was that? That was number 7. So number 6, just missing out on the top 5 by the ever slightest of margins, Johnny Guitar. Now this is an incredible film. Absolutely beautiful transfer from Eureka. There's the normal Blu-ray case cover, and yeah, it's from 1954. Absolutely gorgeous. I think it's technical or presentation in terms of the way that it's shot, but yeah, still incredible western. Again, like likes of Failsafe or Touch of Evil, it grabs you by the neck very quickly, and yeah, Joan Crawford is incredibly engrossing as her character, and yeah, did the kind of thing that really wasn't common back then, and had a woman leading the whole film in a western, which, considering this was the era of John Wayne and yeah, other well-known western actors like that, it's yeah, really rather surprising. And again, it's got a great cast: Sterling Hayden, Mercedes McCambridge, Scott Brady, Ward Bond, Ben Cooper, Ernest Borgnine, and John Carradine, all heading the cast. And yeah, it's wonderfully directed by Nicholas Ray. And yeah, Eureka had done a fantastic job in transferring that. Right, into the top 5, and a film I really wasn't expecting to be all that great, considering the director, Blake Edwards, more known for doing his comedy films like the Pink Panther films, and yet this is anything but a comedy, and yet it's incredible, and that is Experiment in Terror. Now, this stars Glenn Ford, who's become one of my favourite actors in recent times, especially thanks to the Columbia Noir box sets up there. He was in several of those, and yeah, also got a really good performance from Lee Remick, and yeah, just over 2 hours from 1962 in black and white, but yeah, again, ratchets up the tension extremely well, and yeah, it's just an incredible film. I'm not going to give too much away about it, but basically Lee Remick is an employee of a bank, and she's basically being coerced into helping a guy steal from that bank, and yeah, it's got an incredible scene where she's in the dark in a garage, and he's like that around her, and he's basically whispering into her ear what he wants, what he's going to do, what will happen if she doesn't comply. And yeah, it's incredible. And as it says here on the back, terror, tension, almost more than the heart can bear. And yeah, that is basically sums up the film. And yeah, considering Blake Edwards, like I said, was more known for his comedies, I really wasn't expecting him to really nail a heart-pounding thriller like that. Right, in terms of the Fritz Lang films that I've seen, this is probably the masterpiece of his work that I've seen so far. Obviously, I've still yet to see numerous other of his films, but yeah, once again starring Glenn Ford, The Big Heat, and yeah, from 1953, clocking in at a sharp 90 minutes long, and yeah, also got Lee Marvin in this as well, and yeah, this is again a really rather superb film, cracking film noir, even though obviously film noir by that point was getting a little bit tired. This, yeah, shows that genre still had plenty more to give. Again, in black and white, so yeah, it's not a colourful film by any means, but yeah, again, the back pretty much sums it up. A hard cop and a soft dame in a brass knuckle thriller, and yeah, that is basically it. And yeah, Glenn Ford again just blew me away in that film, and yeah, he really does surprise me how great he is, because obviously you're talking about films from 70 years ago now, and yet he's able to match actors that have been trained to the hilt way, and he's way better than those kind of people, really. And yeah, another film that as a cast member that I've been enjoying a lot more from in the last few years, Burt Lancaster in the lead role, and a unusually serious performance from Tony Curtis, Sweet Smell of Success. Now, this is an incredible film. Again, just like every other film I've talked about so far. Great cast of Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis, and yeah, it's directed by Alexander McKendrick, which I haven't seen anything from before, unfortunately, but yeah, this is an incredible film, and yeah, and as it says on the back here, one of the darkest films ever to come out of the Hollywood mainstream, both literally and figuratively. And yeah, it's got a brilliant script. It's just really well shot. and it's just amazing. Obviously, it's been a while since I saw this. I think this was in the middle of the year. I've not seen it since, but the fact that it's on my list as high as it is, and looking back at my review and quickly reading over it again, I can remind myself why it was so great. And yeah, it's just a really riveting film. And Burt Lancaster is in one of the more kind of like antagonist kind of films rather than roles rather than a protagonist, which is unusual for his career, quite frankly. And the newest film out of the lot is the one that I sadly didn't get to see in 2020, and it is Seoul. This is probably my favourite Pixar film of the last 10 years or so. Just absolutely nails it in terms of the comedy, the animation, the score, the voice cast, the emotional weight that it has going for it. The plot is wholly engrossing, and yeah, it just blew me away, quite frankly. And yeah, it was a shame that I didn't get to see it back in 2020, because this probably would have topped my list for that year, but still, it has come very close to topping this list, and yeah, that's some consolation at the end of the day. And yeah, just hope that Pixar can keep this quality up, quite frankly. But yeah, highly recommend seeing it if you haven't already. And finally, in at number one, something that I really wasn't expecting to be the top of the my list, but it's from a director that we've already seen something from before, and that is Robert Aldrich with 1955's Kiss Me Deadly. This was sensational, because not only did it make me think, oh, this is just going to be, kind of standard film noir, you got a guy, you got a girl, it's just going to go the kind of usual way that it usually does, and yet in the second half it completely switches around, it completely goes into a direction that I really wasn't expecting, and the way it concludes, well, basically, think of the end of the first Indiana Jones film. That's all I'm going to say. Just think of that, and yeah, this just was like, whoa, what the hell is going on? And it's just incredible, and I just can't wait to see other people, watch it for the first time, really, because I really want to see their reaction. And it's not even got anyone that I've really seen anything from before. It's got Ralph Meeker in it, Albert Decker, Paul Stewart, Juan Hernandez, Wesley Addy, and Marion Carr. I don't think I've seen anything from them before. I don't think I've seen anything done with the composer of the music either, Frank Devil. Obviously, I've seen films from Robert Aldrich. Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte is one of the ones that I already mentioned that was in the top 15, not quite the top 10, but yeah, this was incredible, and yeah, I really, really highly recommend watching it. It's obviously more widely available now, with Criterion giving it a shot and giving it a good Blu-ray transfer as well. But yeah, as far as film noir goes, this is top of the leaderboard, quite frankly. Oh, it's getting there, especially in terms of 1950s film noirs as well. And yeah, especially since, like I said, with the big heat, 1950s film noirs were slowly getting out of favour. They were still great, as evidenced by this, but they weren't becoming any more popular. They were kind of plateauing in their popularity. But yeah, this is highly recommended, and yeah, the Criterion version is superb. So yeah, there we go. It's been an incredible year for first-time watches for all the films, and yeah, like I said, I've rated 100 films that I hadn't seen before 2021. You hadn't seen before 2021. That I rated 4.5 stars or more, which is one more than I gave in 2020 for films I hadn't seen before 2020 themselves for the first time. So yeah, incredible year, and I really do hope that 2022 is going to be as good, because yeah, I have seen now over the last 2 years more than 1,300 films, and I really do hope that I'm able to maintain that high quality in terms of films I watch. But nonetheless, thanks for watching. Hope you have a happy new year, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.